Chair. And I just want to pick up on your point about unionized workplaces. I agree with you that unionized workplaces have better systems and processes in place and are able to protect their members better. And yet we've heard from witnesses previously that they, as members of the Federal Public Service, which is one of the largest, organized as one of the largest unions, they just went on strike successfully, reached an agreement this morning, good for all of us, and yet they didn't find the protection of that union umbrella. So much so that the black employees have launched class action suits, etc., etc. How do you compromise those two streams of thought?
There's different ways I could approach that question. I don't have answers. Obviously, I have my observation, which is that starting in 2020, we saw a dramatic increase in awareness and the manifestation of the desire for racial equality as a result of what was happening in the United States. And I think that translated directly, I've seen it in my own work, I think that translated directly into workplaces where the cause of anti-Black racism was already an issue that people were looking for movement on, and which was not being adequately addressed. That is a longstanding problem. And as are other forms of racism, I think it relates to the nature of race as a ground of human rights protection and the challenges of exposing racial discrimination, particularly in the workplace. It's not just at the Canadian Human Rights Commission. We've seen been tell-alls from staff in other federal agencies like CSIS and the RCMP and the military. It appears to be prevalent across the board. And these are all unionized workplaces with robust workplace policies. These are model employment workplaces in terms of the policies in place and procedures, and yet there's been an inability to shift the culture towards a more rights-respecting one, and one in which members of minority groups are able to feel more welcome and comfortable in the workplace. The only thing I can say in response to the question about, well, what are the unions doing, is they're clearly not enough, or not enough of the right stuff. And just as the commission needs to look at itself with some honest eyes, it may be that the union, I think certainly the union does. I don't have specific recommendations on what the problem might be. I have not diagnosed that myself.
So, Professor Bhabha, if you are able to put your mind to it and send us the wording of a recommendation around the role of the Federal Public Union in helping us address the problem of anti-Black discrimination in the Federal Public Service, we would be very grateful. Thank you.
Okay, if I could offer one just comment, because I have seen it in the sense that I do at times investigate allegations of discrimination in workplaces, and I have done so in government workplaces, and so I have had some experience interviewing government union representatives and so on. And what I know is it can be challenging when racial discrimination allegations are being raised as between staff for the union, because the union has duties to represent all of its members. So it may be that the union that unions are feeling challenged in representing both sides of racial discrimination disputes arising within the workplace. And it may be that they need better tools to figure out how to represent all of their members in situations where their members are in dispute with one another. But I will give this some thought and follow up with what I can.